My name is Dr. David Wank, and in this short talk, I want to talk to you about real data or vanity metrics, and how to know if your marketing company is giving you the full picture and they're actually giving you useful data. Now, the term vanity metrics comes from the book, The Lean Startup, where they talk about when you're building a company or building a business, vanity metrics are data points that look good but don't really mean anything. They're not real data. They're not data points that actually let you make decisions. So when we look at it, we're going to talk about real data against vanity data. And so real data, and he doesn't call it that, but I'm calling it real data here. Is that data actionable? Is there something that you can do about it or something you can do with that data? That is what I call real data. And vanity metrics is data that's just for show, that's made to look good. So let's jump to the first report. Now I blurred out keywords, obviously, to protect the the identity of who this is. So we talk about, they're saying here, top performing search queries from April. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting an automated report. In fact, at Short Hills, I do automated reports for our clients, but these are automated reports, and I tell the clients ahead of time, this is a report that the computer is doing that I'm not looking at. And if you want to look at it yourself, just to have some information, if you have questions, ask me. But I don't believe in charging someone for a computer-generated report that really doesn't give them anything. So that's why you can have it if you'd like to look at it, and if you want to know more, we could talk about it. But I'm not going to charge you for a report that the computer does that really is just vanity metrics. So in this case, I'm saying define performance. This comes out of Search Console, and defining performance here is just not done. You've got a query and you have the impressions. And the query is a keyword. So whatever the keyword was, how many impressions did the website show up for that? So here you see on the top, it's hard to see a little bit, 314, 286, 270. So that's how many times that keyword was shown, that a page on the website was shown when someone searched for that. So if they searched for, dentist, whatever it is, Missouri, that's how many times the website or a web page on the site came up. Unfortunately, this is useless for me because just because I know that a page came up a lot of times when someone searched it, what I'm not seeing here is what page is it and what number were they ranking. So if we had 314 impressions for whatever keyword this is, dentist, Missouri, and of course, that's way too broad a keyword. We never use it, but dentist, Missouri, and we're ranking second. Well, that's great. But if it's dentist, Missouri, and that's, again, a keyword that we had researched and we've decided it's a good keyword, but we're ranking 12th or we're ranking 57th, who cares if we have 314 impressions at position 57? So that's it. When it says top performing search queries, that's not really performance. We're just saying how many impressions are we getting for this keyword, and it doesn't tell me anything. If we have the other data, then I could say, okay, let's think about what we can do about it, or do we need to do anything about it? If we're ranking second, we don't have to do anything. I mean, you could try and go for first, but as opposed to if we're 57th, we should do something. So next we have local keyword tracking. And on the left, you have the keyword, which I blurred out, and some other data. And my problem here with this is, first of all, what is the segment? It says local keyword tracking. But let's say we were in Kansas City in Missouri. Are we looking at a certain zip code within Kansas City? We're looking at the whole state of Missouri. And so I don't know that from this report because obviously the keyword, dentist, whatever, is going to be different in the state of Missouri versus in your local area. So number one, what is the segment? What location is this? I have to know that. Because if it's not my location, if it's the other side of the state, then this data isn't relevant for me. And this is meaningless without the search volume. So we can take a look here and we see this means map listings, site links, they rank first for it. That's terrific. The problem is, what's the search volume? Here they rank 6 for whatever keyword this is. They moved up. Terrific. And by the way, keywords will move up and down, on a daily basis. I've seen them jump from 5 to 95 to 8 to 5. So look at it over the long term. Don't panic if you see a keyword go down, a day or two and come back up. Just if nothing's changed, I wouldn't get so concerned about it. If you've made major changes and things drop, then you have to take a look. But in this case, I have no idea what the search volume is. So if we rank here first on maps, and these 3 keywords have very high search volumes, I'm a happy guy. And if this keyword here, for example, that I rank 6th for, has a volume of 2, a very, very low volume, I don't really care. So I don't really need to move from 6th to 1st for volume with 2. But what about this keyword? If this keyword that we see 32, if this keyword has a very, very high search volume, then I'm really going to want to optimize for whatever keyword this is. So this is data, but without knowing what the search volume is, and let's assume for argument's sake the segment is local to this person's office's area. Without search volume, I have no idea what this data means, and more importantly, I can't do anything about it, and I don't know what I could do about it, and that data is missing. And when you do SEO, one of the things that you really have to do is you got to pick keywords. And when you're picking keywords, you want to pick keywords that have a high search volume and that are relevant to you. So some of these keywords might not be relevant. Some of these, in fact, a couple of the ones on the top are branded keywords. So for example, if someone's searching for Dr. David Wank, I would hope that my about page on Short Hills Design would come up for Dr. David Wank. You should come up first for your own name, your own office's branding. So now let's talk about, again, same here. Let's talk about a Google Analytics segment. I have no idea where this data is coming from. And so new users, okay, 141. So we have 20% new users. That's terrific. My question is, where is this data? Again, is this from, the world? Is this from the United States? Is it from Missouri? Is it from Kansas City? Is it from my zip code? Without knowing what segment of the population or geographic segment this is coming from, again, this data is meaningless. I just don't know. So we had 141 new users, but if 140 of them came from Texas and my practice is in Missouri, then who cares? So so far you've seen vanity metrics. They're metrics that they really look good, but it's just not telling me anything. And over here, we're seeing the percentage of new users again, but they've cut off the data here. Google Analytics actually shows you goals. What a goal is a conversion. A goal is when something happens that you're measuring in your marketing. So for example, let's say your hygienist is selling electric toothbrushes or something like that. And if she sees 10 patients a day and sells 2 electric toothbrushes, so for every 10 patients she sees, you sell 2 toothbrushes. So now we know. And then we can say, well, let's see, in the month of, November, she saw 100 patients and sold 20 toothbrushes. But in December, she sold 40. Well, maybe that's because that's Christmas. Or maybe that's because we had a special. But the idea is that I have no idea how well she's doing on selling toothbrushes without measuring how many. And so if a conversion on a website, which we usually have is a phone call or a contact request or an appointment request. So now what you can do is if you look at this data, you can see we don't have goals. So if I saw here that we have all this traffic from display, let's ignore display. We have all this traffic from organic search, and that's people typing, a search term into a search engine. If these users, even though there are fewer, if these users had very high conversion rates, so we found that our organic search visitors, we had 10 contact requests in the month, but our social only had 1, or this display, which looks like a larger percentage of the traffic. If this display group had 2 conversions, 2 contact requests, or 2 phone calls, and organic search, even though it's fewer patients, fewer users, had 20 phone calls or 20 contact requests, that's telling me that my organic search is working well, because even though there aren't a lot of people coming, I'm getting good results from them. And my display, I might be getting a lot of people, but I'm not getting good results. So this is a vanity metric, because I have no idea. And again, this is just a repeat of what you're seeing in this chart. It's comparing, but again, not telling me anything, because as far as I know, I can't tell you whether the organic search is good. I can't tell you whether that's bad. Without goals, I just don't know. And finally, let's talk about top performing pages. Same problem. Let's assume for argument's sake that the segment is the proper zip code or the proper city for this practice. And these are accurate numbers for page views. I'll tell you, this is the homepage. So from this information, I know that 47% of the page views are the homepage. Okay, so what? Is it actionable? No, it doesn't tell me anything. What are the goals? What are the conversions? What are the bounce rates? You're going to see on top performing pages on this report, what's cut off here is bounce rates. And what the bounce rate is what percentage of people came to the web page and then didn't go anywhere else. And I equate that to soup. If we run a restaurant and 100 people come in and taste the soup and 90 people leave, your bounce rate is 90%. 90% of the people don't like the soup. So before we would go ahead and spend more money to drive more people to the restaurant to taste soup that we already know 90% doesn't like. Let's take a look and see what's wrong with the soup. And so therefore, bounce rates, and don't look at aggregate bounce rates, look at individual bounce rates. So when you look at individual bounce rates, we might see on this homepage, the bounce rate is, and I don't know, 90%. And I say, oh my gosh, if half of the website traffic goes to a page that has 90% bounce rate, we've got to fix that. We've got to bring that down. But just knowing what the page views are, that really doesn't help me, doesn't tell me anything because it's not actionable. All it's saying is you have 93 page views. Okay, but how much money does that put, into your practice? How many bodies is that in your chair? And how many phone calls, how many whatever. So by saying top performing pages, we're not learning anything new. Your page views does not equal performance. So that sums up what I wanted to show you today. Please take a look at the reports that you get from your marketing people and see, are you really getting the accurate data, or are you getting vanity metrics? If you have any questions, you can get in touch with me, davidw@shorthillsdesign.com, or find us on shorthillsdesign.com.